Today's guest is someone that I've known for a long time. She's my sister-in-law, which actually made this conversation both easier and harder than most. Hannah Wells is a SEND practitioner who has spent years in classrooms supporting neurodivergent children. She also completed a master's degree researching how the autistic child's voice is heard, and also how often it isn't in mainstream reception. That dissertation achieved the highest mark that was ever awarded, and it's now used as the benchmark example for every student who takes that course after her. She is also autistic herself, diagnosed as an adult after spending most of her life being told that she had an anxiety disorder. What I didn't expect when we sat down to record was quite how much of my own experience I'd hear in hers. The pandemic being a relief, the phone calls, the mask that held everything together, just long enough to fall apart somewhere private. And that's the conversation. Let's get into it.
So I'm Hannah, and at the moment I work in a primary school as a sort of teaching assistant specialising with the kids with special education needs. I'm kind of coming to the end of that, so I'm about to move on. When we get to the summer holidays, then I'm going to move on and be doing pretty similar thing really, but in a nursery, so kids aged sort of 2 to 5 instead. At the moment it's kids aged maybe 4 to 7, so yeah, I feel like that's what I do. I don't know. It's hard to tell you because you already know.
It is a bit tricky. But tell me a bit, because you've done like quite a bit of research as well, and you did a master's. And tell me what it was you decided to sort of study there and what kind of drew you to that.
I did a master's in early years education while I was also working as a teaching assistant in a different school, and basically every sort of research project or what are they called? Literature review. So I did a couple of literature reviews and a sort of deep dives kind of presentation where you had to like present a topic to the rest of the cohort, and then obviously the master's thesis at the end. Every time that we had to choose something to do, then I always did it about autistic kids, because at the time I was supporting a child who is autistic, and had worked with other autistic children, so that was probably the kind of first reason why I wanted to sort of shine a light on her experience and the things that I thought were kind of getting just missed in kind of the wider scheme of things that like I wanted to shine a light on. But at the same time, then I'm trying to think of how it kind of came about. Basically it was kind of like the first, maybe it was even studying autism, because I didn't really know so much about it before I started. And then I got into reading just so many books written by autistic writers, like memoirs and biographies. It was unquenchable. The thirst.
Was it a special interest, would you say?
Reading all of these autistic experiences, and I just saw my own experiences on the page like time and time again, and I didn't want to kind of claim and be like I'm autistic too, because I thought, okay, I relate with all of these things, but I've got generalised anxiety disorder, and maybe there's a crossover or whatever. And the kind of more I read, there was a book called, I think, is it Women and Girls on the with Autistic Spectrum Disorder or something like that. It's so good. I read that and was just like, oh my God, like this is literally, like it had things on there that is definitely, to be honest, too much information. So like, but that I was like, what? Like, I can't believe even that is like a part of this. Do you know? Like, and I was like, just so floored. Oh yeah, because I remember now. Okay, rewind. So because I wanted to do the masters, and I really like, I love learning, I love going to university, and it had been nearly like 10 years since I'd done my undergrad degree, and so when the kind of opportunity came up to have this funded master's degree, I was like, oh, I want to do it so much, and I had to, with the application, then I had to do like essay, I think, and then I had to do an interview. And I thought, oh, I'm definitely going to like fall at that hurdle, because that's always the part where it's like, oh no, you come out of it and you're like, what the heck?
What's just happened?
Why did I do that? Why did I say that? And I had to have like a letter of recommendation from my head teacher and everything. And like, she was like, you are totally like capable of this. Like you'll be brilliant at this. And so, yeah, I thought, well, I'm going to give it a go anyway. And the worst that can happen is I don't get in, and there you go. But then I did get in, and I just thought, you know what? We'd had the pandemic, and I think, like, because I've always struggled with anxiety so much, struggled so much with just like such simple things like going to the shop or whatever, like anything where I had to like talk to a human. Then it was just like, I just wish I could live on a planet with no humans, just me and lots of like animals to play with or whatever. It's just like, it'd be so much easier. But yeah, so I kind of always dealt with that. But the pandemic, even though it sounds horrendous, because I know that obviously for so many people then the pandemic was like the worst time of their life, but for me personally it was the best part of best time of my life, because I was like super privileged enough to have a home, have my family, and like we were just in a little bubble. It was just like just us and nothing else. There was no expectations on me at all. No, like I didn't have to go anywhere. In fact, I was being told not to go anywhere.
Exactly.
They were like, don't leave your house.
Go to a shop.
Don't meet anyone. And I was just like, this is everything I've ever hoped for. Yes, I will follow all
but
these
also,
rules.
I don't think you're alone in that, because Nick and I, we loved that time as well. We were in exactly the same boat. We loved that it was just us, and we were contained, and we went out for our walks, and that was it.
Oh, I loved it so much. And which I know, like when you say that you sound like an asshole, because for a lot of people
there's a lot of guilt around that as well, isn't there?
So I try not to really be like, oh, I loved the pandemic, but I was so fortunate to like have a really, really great time then. But then it kind of meant that all of the things that I'd been sort of able to kind of push myself into before, like being out of practice, not using any like bus or shop or like anything, I was like, oh my god, like I can't even function now. Like,
so when it went back to normal,
then it was worse than ever. So that was, so my husband Jack like urged me. He was like, you need to go to a doctor, seriously, like please go to a doctor, like you are so not okay. So then finally did, and then got on sertraline, and then I was like, oh my god, like for the first time in my life I don't feel anxious. Like, this is crazy. Is this what everyone else feels like? Which was so good. But then it kind of was like, okay, so like the anxiety's gone, but then actually there was so many things that I was like, oh, but it's not like, kind of, I still have these problems. Like, it's not like an anxiety thing actually that's stopping me being able to do like a lot of these things. And then just thought I was incompetent.
Of course.
Like,
and I think that's quite a common story.
I must just suck.
Yeah.
And
I relate.
I guess that explains it. But then, so when I was studying autism and reading all of these books, and then I was like, wait, oh my God, like this is so it. And I really felt like this is what it is. But I didn't want to tell anyone, or like, I was like, I'll just like privately feel like this. But because it even was like, I did a whole presentation on autism, and an autistic woman on our cohort asked if I was autistic, and I was just like, just left it on red. I was like, I feel like I'm lying whichever way I respond to this, because I haven't been diagnosed. So I don't want to say, yes, I am autistic, because I'm officially like not, and I'm like, you're just like, maybe I'm making it up, but then I don't want to say no, because I don't feel like that's true. So I just didn't say anything. And then as it kind of went on, by the time I'd got to the end of the degree, then I was like, was I diagnosed? I might have been diagnosed by that point, because what was so stupid is that we tried to go to the GP. I struggle with phone calls massively because of the like so much of sort of talking to someone or having a conversation, like a lot of it, sometimes it's kind of like a bit Charlie Brown's mum, like, but then you kind of like take the, like, so you're smiling, so like then I'll like smile or whatever, like, okay, we're having a good time, whatever. But then sometimes on the phone, like, well, actually every time on the phone, then like I do talk on the phone to my husband, but then sometimes I'll just like hang up mid-sentence and he'll like know, like, oh, okay, she's like done here, and I know that's a safe space to be able to do that. And or I'm like oh, I don't know what you're saying, bye, and I just like, I'm like, that's enough of that, like, we're done here. But obviously you can't, like, most people would find that rude, so then you can't, like, or there's if they say something and then you're like, like, what? Can you say that again? And then they say it again, and then you're like, oh God, I'm gonna have to say that. Like, can you say that again? And then you're like,
and then you start getting in your head about,
and then you're like, this needs to end. This whole experience needs to end. I always think like it's so not natural to even like talk to a box and then hear a voice and they're not in the room but you can hear them. I'm just like, look, this ain't normal. Like, this isn't right.
No, I do get that. And I think probably a lot of people will relate to that as well, because of like the social cues that actually you've trained yourself to pick up on.
So true.
And I think so many people with neurodiversities feel exactly the same.
That's such a good point. Like, there's so many like things that you're kind of looking out for, like, oh, kind of how are we doing this conversation, and then if you can't see any of it, then you're just like, because I'm better on video calls, like video calls are okay, but so basically the I sent an email to the doctors, and then the doctor was like, oh, I want to talk to her on the phone, and then so Jack called to be like, oh yeah, she struggles with phone calls, so like, can we just like book an appointment? But then it was all still like weird, like you couldn't get to talk to anybody because of the pandemic and all of those sorts of things. So then she was like insisting that I talked on the phone, and then he was like, she's not going to talk on the phone. Like, stop trying to make talking on the phone happen, doctor. So that I was just like, well, that's the end of that then. And then ended up going private because I was like, look, I just want to see a human being, please. So then I when I had my diagnosis, I had written like a little fact file of myself, like just like broken down into like autistic traits, and just like from year dot of like all the evidence where I sort of have shown these traits. And then he, like, the doctor, because obviously like it's like multidisciplinary, and then so we had Jack have to have like conversations with one, and then they talked to each other, whatever. But then so he was like, so you've gone from not really knowing anything about autism, he said, to doing a master's degree thesis on it and written a book on it in sort of the space of a year. And I was like, yes, this is true.
I'll add that to my fact file.
So, yes, that's true. And he was like, because I was like quoting different memoirs and stuff, and he was like, you've read more than I have. Like, so he's like, you've read like more widely on it than I have. And then he, like, they agreed that I was autistic, whatever. And then after that, then I felt like, so in my thesis, then I was like, as an autistic woman, like, which was super empowering.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can feel really proud of that, because now you've learned just so much more about yourself, and you've 100%. Gone through life thinking, why am I finding this so hard? Like, I can't figure out why I can't talk to someone on a phone. Like, why is that giving me anxiety? Everyone else seems to manage. Like,
honestly, and it's so like embarrassing when, like, I used to work somewhere where it was like, so in the nursery, then they had phones between rooms. So the phone would ring, and then I'd be like
stepping away gradually.
I hope someone else answers that. And then if I was like the closest one, then I'd be like, they all knew like, oh, Hannah struggles with phone calls, but then I'd be like, it's for you. Because I knew that I'd like answer it and then hear the like blah 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 blah, and I'd be like, huh?
I love that.
What? So, but yeah, it's horrible, because it's like, of course, I would rather just be able to be like, hello, oh yes, it's so and so, like, great, that's in this cupboard or whatever. Like, it would be so much easier to be able to just do that. But instead, every time, like, one woman, I was like, sorry, could you just answer this phone for me? Because it was ringing, and she looked at me like, what the heck? So then she was like, okay, and then she answered it, and afterwards I was like, sorry, I just have auditory processing disorder. And then she was like, oh, okay, no, yes, that's fine. I was like, yeah, like, it's a struggle, but it makes you look really stupid, because it makes you just look like you need to just get over it and just answer the phone. So if this was a video call phone, I'd be fine, actually, because then I could see what they're saying. It's like everyone needs subtitles at all times. It would be very helpful.
Do you think then, obviously, when you started working in the special education space, at that point, you had no idea?
Yeah. So I've kind of always, because I've worked with children for maybe the last sort of decade, and I've always been drawn to any kid with like special education needs. I mean, even like just any disabilities as well, like with two diabetic brothers. Like, I grew up like closely with one of my brothers because we're nearly the same age. There's like 2 years between us, and he was diagnosed at 3. So just a childhood of like diabetics parties and like little hospital visits and stuff. So like, yeah, I always kind of feel like I want to support and like just make like these kids' lives the best that they can be. You know, there's so many struggles that people like don't know about, and even for like the siblings and of kids with additional needs and disabilities. So I kind of always have, but then yeah, I think because of my own experience of school, which was just tragic. It was not a good time. It's so funny that I've ended up working in schools, because you would think that I would be like, okay, I'm out, I'm free, I'm never going back. But actually, I think because of how much I hated it, then I'm like, I want to be there for these kids. Like, just last week, then we had sports day, and we've got another sports day Monday, and it's so nice at this school that I'm at the moment. We have a sort of little like wooden cabiny bit. It's got like 3 walls, and then like the front is open to the field. And in there it was like quiet space with just like weighted blankets, bean bags, books, colouring, and like a box of sort of fidget toys and stuff. And so I was in there to just be like the sort of appointed adult for if anybody is like getting overwhelmed with sports day, because it was a whole morning.
So
they
whether
can just
they're send or not, doesn't matter.
Anyone, could come, have a little break, do a bit of colouring, like they can chat to me or not, like, and it was so nice. And I was just like, I needed this so much, because my sports day go-to was just like plank on the floor face down crying, or like cling to my mum's legs, be like, please no. And which at the time, obviously I was just inside myself, so all I could think was like, absolutely not, we're off timetable, this is so horrendous, I don't know what is expected of me, I've never seen an obstacle course before, what is this, why are we carrying these eggs on spoons, why, like, what are we doing?
We all know this is going to go wrong.
Everyone's smiling, why are they all smiling, why are the mums and dads here, what's going on? This is time for playtime on the on the playground, and we're here instead, and it's so confusing and so stressful. And I just cried and cried, and I missed a lot of them because I just refused to go to school. And then once I was even in secondary school, because I was more like, I don't want to look like I'm crying and like that, because as a kid then you just don't care, I'll just be like laid on the floor screaming,
exactly.
It's fine. But as a teenager then I was like, no one can know, so instead it was just like total freeze moment. So they were like, with secondary school sports day, I know that they were sort of saying like, oh, Hannah Giolivera was supposed to do like javelin or something, like basically I was up, like they're doing it over the tannoy, and I just like went
curled into a little ball,
and they kept saying it. They kept being like, Hannah Giolivera, javelin. I'm just like, until they gave up, and I was just like, okay, right, now that that's over,
I can enjoy my day.
Yeah. Just like, no, absolutely not. I'm not a sports day fan. There's so much going on, and I totally get, like, because now that I work in the school, or like since working with kids and everything, I'm like, wow, everyone loves it, like they're loving it. I'm like, okay, so it wasn't just like this personal form of hell to torture me, it was actually a fun time for everyone else. But yeah, I just struggled, and then that was it. That was just like, no, stop struggling, get in there, get in your sack, jump down the race. But yeah, so that's why I was like, oh my god, this is so lovely. And then on Monday it'll be the same situation, because we did like junior school, and then now we're doing infant school. And yeah, it'll be the same. Like, if anybody's struggling, they can come and have a break, like as long as they want, they can spend the whole morning there if they want to. But they do. There was a little one who she'd spent quite a long time with me, and so I kind of tried to be like, oh, I think your class is doing this now, like, do you want to go and have a look? You can go and see, and you can come back if you don't like it. And then another adult did come to sort of take her off. I think that she did fancy doing a couple of the things, because it was like all different quite a few different things to do. And then came back for some more like chill out time, colouring and stuff, and it's just like just no pressure.
And to be clear, like this is just mainstream school, isn't it?
It's so good. I've been really impressed with the school that I work at now. Really
and having worked in other schools as well, have you seen that kind of replicated? And I know attitudes and behaviours are still really changing at the moment, aren't they?
So one of the reasons I left, there was a few reasons that I left the school I worked at before. One of them was that I shared my diagnosis of being autistic, and that is so like vulnerable to be like actually because I've never been like ashamed. In fact, I've always been incredibly proud, because I thought because it kind of made me think, do you know what, there's nothing wrong with me finally. Like, actually, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just autistic. It's just my neurotype. Like, I'm not a really shit version of a neurotypical person. I'm just an autistic person, and I'm like gonna process things differently, and I'm gonna have different like limitations in different situations, but I also have like, I will sort of excel and thrive in other situations that neurotypical people won't, and like it's just different. Like, it's not that, it's like, the whole time you're trying to squeeze yourself into this, I am neurotypical, I am. It's like, no, I'm not, and that's like great, like it's fine. I don't have to try and pretend to be, and like kill yourself off trying. But so when I opened up about that, it was so like rubbish, it sucked, because I had spent how many years that I was there, the whole time I did my teacher training there, based in that school, and the whole time told how amazing I am, how great I am at my job, how lucky they are to have me there doing the jobs that I did, and like so praised. And then I like opened up about being autistic, and suddenly everybody's concerned that I'm not like able to do my job, and like talking to me like oh, that's a pretty skirt. And I was like, okay, are you serious right now? Like, why are you talking to me like this? This was the head teacher. And so I was like, so because we had moved, so the first like several years that I worked there, I was based in one classroom. So in that time, I had different kids, like obviously like each year you get a whole new cohort of kids. I had different teachers, maternity leaves and whatever. I had different like other TAs or INAs coming in and out, but the classroom was the same, and it was like my little home bubble, like, and I was super confident and comfortable in that classroom. And I because they do like, you get moved around all over the place in schools, so it comes to the end of the school year, so around now then everybody who works in a school will be getting told where they are going to be in September, which I always think is a bit like, I don't get it, because I'm like, if you are in reception or in year one and you love it, like if you're like, oh, I need a change, then fair enough, like get moved around. But if you're like, oh, this is where I love it, then I feel like, then keep doing that. Like, why are you taking someone from year one and putting them in year 6? Now they've got to feel new at their job for the next like 9 months sort of thing.
That's actually really interesting.
So I like don't really understand it, but so they moved me anyway, and that's why I admitted I'm autistic, and that's going to be a problem for me. So what, like from the outside, it's like I was moved one class over. I was still in reception. I'm like, the thing was as well, so I had in this new class, so it was a new class, obviously new kids because we just started the year, the way that they did everything was just slightly different to how we did it in the other class. So even down to like the kids coming in and then like me guiding them to their plate that they could put in their lunchbox or school dinner thing was different in the next class. So it was like all of these little things were like where the resources were, and like how we sort of set things up, and or even what my expectations were like different with this new class. But then we also had 2 teachers, so we had one teacher was Monday to Wednesday and then the other teacher was Thursday, Friday, and they had very different teaching styles. They had different expectations of behaviour, and so I was doing it for half a term, so like, well, now they call it a full term, don't they, up till the October half term. But I was like I was trying to hold it together so hard that outside of school it was just like all over. Like chaos, I was just like crying all the time. What's really confusing is it's like not like a new job, like, because then I left and then I ended up working in the nursery, and you'd think like, well, that's a new room and that's new children and stuff. And that's something that they said. They're like, oh, well, you know, I got told you can't let autism rule your life.
No,
I'm autistic.
Definitely not. Just squash it down.
Neurotypical.
Yeah, just like, squash it down a bit, please.
It's my brain, so it's gonna rule my life, kind of. But yeah, but it's because it was the same school. It was almost the same. But everything was ever so slightly not the same, and it was just too much to try and adjust. Like, oh, so we do have plates, but we don't put them in like these sort of baskets, we put them in these other baskets, and it's not me who does that job, it's them who, like, you know, it was just too many, like maybe like 1 or 2 or whatever, like.
It was all at once as well, with the new children.
With new children, different teachers and stuff, different room, trying to figure out what goes where, and like, yeah, it just seemed like such a simple thing to accommodate, to be like, no, yeah, that's fine. Because then they were like, oh, because you just want to be with the teacher that I'd been with last year. I said, I've worked with different teachers in that room before. I've worked with different teachers, I've worked with different kids. Just put me back in my room so that I know where everything is, and then I can cope with all the other stuff. Like school is like, and childcare and education in general, you're always like rolling with the punches, and oh, actually no, like actually this one's now hit their head, so now we're going to need to accommodate for that and get a cold pack and whatever, and oh no, like this visitor was supposed to be here at 10 but they're stuck in a traffic jam, so we're going to do some songs instead. And I can do that because I have it all, the like everything else is like consistent.
Now, so let's just say, right, if you had stayed in that class but the 2 teachers that shared the week had have been in that class, do you think that would have been different?
I feel like I probably would have struggled, but I don't think to the point where I'd have left, because I did kind of struggle all the time anyway, because it is a lot. Like, I love the kids so much, but you are bombarded working with them with voices, noises, questions. You're making decisions all the time, and sort of, so by the time I go home, then it's like, that's me done. Like, I can't be talking to anyone, doing anything kind of thing for like a good long while, hours, sometimes the whole, like, till bedtime, depending on if it's been like, oh, now it's David Attenborough Day and everything's different to normal, then it's like, well, that's me for like zonked out for the next day. And but so yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think I would have struggled with having 2 teachers for sure.
I read through your dissertation and you talk about the SEN training for teachers and actually the sheer lack of it.
Yeah.
And I know there is this reform at the moment that's going on, and that whole consultancy hasn't kind of come to an end of what that's going to look like, how much more training teachers and professionals are going to get.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, well, you have this view that was like what from like the 70s or something of like or even probably like the 90s, to be honest. Like if they're acting out, they need to be like corrected and disciplined, and not like why are they feeling this way? Like a happy child doesn't act like that, so what's the matter? How can we solve it? Which is such a big difference on how the school that I've been working in most recently, it's very like, if a child is like sort of struggling with their behaviour, like why is that? Like we need to make sure that everybody's accommodated for, and like what is it that's causing the struggle? Like do they need a break out of the class, or do they need like what can we do that will make them not feel like they need to do this? Because they sort of, it's all about like seeing it as like, oh, dysregulation. It's not like, oh, they're misbehaving or naughty or anything like that. It's like, oh, this child's dysregulated, like, and how, like, what can we do to support them so that they like are regulated again? And then once they're calm and happy, then we can talk about, like, I totally get that you felt this way and whatever, and because that had happened and we see that, it's not okay to throw the chairs and whatever, and then they can apologise to like anyone they need to or whatever.
Yes.
But because it's not like anybody's saying, oh, like you are autistic or you have whatever diagnosis, that means you can just do whatever and no one should ever correct you, because that's not fair. Like, no, everybody needs to sort of know the appropriate way to behave, but then also you need some understanding of like, like they like different, like being able to process things differently, even like how if they think, oh, they've got stickers and I want that one specifically, and it's like, oh, well, these stickers are from home, so they don't like want to give it to you, basically, because these are kids, and you can't just kind of, it's also not right to be like, you have to give them your sticker because otherwise they're gonna have a meltdown. But then being able to kind of navigate through that with understanding for both sides, and kind of you do try to be like, do you think maybe they could have one of your stickers? Like, please. But know that if then, like, chairs are thrown or like toys are thrown and things, making sure that everybody's safe, and like, oh, everyone is just so empathetic at the school that I work at the moment. They're not like just no one is thinking, oh no, not this one. Do you know, like none of that. Whereas I have worked in places where they have been like that, and it's horrible and I hate it. It doesn't sort of take anything to see them as the little human beings that they are. Do you know what I mean? That. Like, children should all deserve the same respect, whatever like neurotype they've got.
Absolutely. And sometimes as well, I think it's harder because it's that hidden disability, isn't it? I think that makes it really much harder. But what do you think then is, obviously this school now is really empathetic. Have they had like more training on it?
I don't know, do you know?
Or is it just like a culture that's kind of been embedded?
Yeah, that's so interesting, because since I've been there, which isn't even that long, it's sort of just within this year, then I haven't they did nearly put me on a course for supporting children with PDA, which would have been really interesting. I really wanted to go on that course, but they'd kind of just missed the cut-off to get me in, because it was kind of like, oh, could you go to, I think it was like Kent or something, and they were like, can you do it like tomorrow? And I was like, oh god, like maybe I will try, but then they were like, never mind, like we forgot,
next
like
time.
we'll do it next time. That would have been super interesting. And so maybe it is that people are more trained, but it's hard. Like, one of the things that I did talk about in the dissertation is that with sort of autism or like ADHD or anything, it's not so much like, it's kind of like, because if you kind of had a diabetic child to look after, and then you were like, so this is how their finger prick works, and this is how these are the insulin normal like levels and blood sugar levels, and these are how you, like, if it's going too high, these are the things you can do, and this is what a hypo looks like, and like, it's kind of, those are the things.
It's
those
like
are
a
the
manual
answers.
that you can just go, here
Whereas
you
you just don't have that for like things like autism. It's just like the ways that I sort of presented and how I struggled and how I showed how I was struggling as a child would be different to, well, even the autistic kids in the sort of cohort that I work with now, no two are the same.
Yeah.
No two are, and yet they all need support, and like as much support as each other.
So like, say for example, you're an adult that's going into work, you have autism, and you've got these demands and pressures on you.
Yeah.
But that child that's also attending school, they have demands and pressures as well, because you were talking, weren't you, about having that split split teacher classroom. So you really felt that difference and that change. And I would assume, coming into that environment, the children that perhaps had neurodiversities would have felt that.
Oh, definitely.
As well.
I think all of the children felt that, because, you know, consistency and boundaries and just understanding what is expected at school and everything. All of the children need to know, like, this is how it's done, and that's consistent throughout the week. So I think that there was definitely a bit of a struggle for every one of them, to be honest. But yeah, for sure, the ones that it's that kind of need for routine and consistency is greater, then it's like even more difficult. But yeah, I didn't get to see that class through to the end, so I don't know how they did. But with I'm sure that it was absolutely fine, you know. But it's just more challenging, isn't it, than it really maybe needs to be. But then I guess, it's one of those things where you're like we were talking about before. It's like, am I disabled, or is my environment just disabling? Because it's like, like teachers, there are lots of classes all over this country where they have job share teachers, and a lot of kids are absolutely fine with it. I don't know. I'd like maybe cut this. Don't know if it's too hot topic. I don't know that it should really be done, because I feel like so many kids will have such a challenge with that, and when there's school can be so difficult already, then to throw maybe an unnecessary, like, or a preventable, I suppose you could say, like a preventable sort of inconsistency into every single week of their school experience for the year is like, it seems like it's a pretty easy fix to just not do that.
Yeah, again, it's kind of like we were saying about the reasonable adjustments, wasn't it? So as adults, we can ask for reasonable adjustments, and by law we should be given them. And actually, if a child who perhaps hasn't developed their voice yet could articulate and say, I can't manage this midweek transition every week, but what 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old, even
So
like probably a
true.
10, 11-year-old child
Yeah,
wouldn't have
definitely.
those words.
That is something that is like, so yeah, I won't go too much into my kid, but I've got an autistic kid as well, and we've known he's autistic for most of his life really, but well, we suspected and then like found out, like then realised and then got an official diagnosis. And that is something that when it was we were coming to get a sort of formal diagnosis for my son, because we were like, okay, he's autistic and we manage his sort of needs, and it's totally, he loves school, he's doing well with that. I mean, we had a really like a big struggle at the beginning with nursery and reception were not easy, because like me, he didn't know what the heck he was supposed to be doing when it was so much sort of free flow play. Whereas once he got to, you're sat at a table and here is your book and here is your pencil and here is your worksheet and here is your like tasks and here's your extension work and here's your further extension work, then he thrived and he's been absolutely fine ever since. But I really wanted to get a formal diagnosis before secondary school, because like what we were saying with the having one teacher half a week and another teacher another half a week, with secondary school it's all day long, isn't it? It's like a different class for this lesson, for the next lesson, for the next lesson, for the next lesson, different class, different set of kids,
Transition
different
after
teachers.
transition.
And I thought, you know, that's gonna look different like when we get there. And we're not quite there yet, we're nearly there. But I know that I had a friend at the time who she was getting a diagnosis for her son, so he'd been on the waiting list and they'd got to the point where she needed to like give forms to the teacher to fill out on the experience of how he is at school. But he was at secondary school and she was like, what teacher am I supposed to give? Like, what, the ones who see him for an hour a week? Or his form tutor who does his registration in the morning and the afternoon and never sees him again until the next morning. And it's like, who is supposed to write this? So that's why I thought, God, this needs to be done like before we get there, because I want any sort of support needed to be in place before he's there, because I don't want to get there, have him suicidal, self-harming, struggling, and like school refusing. Like, I want him to thrive. And so I was so glad that we were able to get the diagnosis before, and so he'll be starting secondary school in September, and he's already met with the special education needs team and the SENCO and everything a couple of times, and like he's well on their radar. And they are, so far we've been really impressed, because they've said like that we know that needs fluctuate, like what he might need one week, maybe he doesn't need the next week, or maybe he won't need at the start of the year, but he'll need like further down the like sort of year. And like, so they have given him a early exit pass so that he can leave the class before the bell, go to his next class with no one else in the corridors.
That's so
and
good.
Then the bell will go, everyone will leave that class and he can go and sit down. Yeah, just like kind of being aware that every kid, even if they're not causing a big disruption to you, doesn't mean that they are not disrupted inside and still need that support. Because we talked a bit about like the younger years, but then the teenage years is
so
challenging. Such a very challenging time for autistic people.
And do you think it's because of that change of going into secondary? Do you think that just amplifies it? Because that's like a life change, isn't it? It's huge.
Massive change. Puberty, periods, hair in weird places, like you're sweating and you smell and you're like, oh my goodness, you're just like, what's happening? Just completely out of control of everything your body's doing. Now I'm taller and now I'm like, voice is different or whatever. I keep on being
and the
like,
social
beware.
expectation kind of changes as well, doesn't it? Like, oh, now I can go out by myself, and I can go to this party by myself with my friends, and now it's all a bit later.
And you're just kind of looking at other peers to know how you're supposed to act, because you're like, didn't come to the world with the book everybody else did on what you're supposed to be doing. So yeah, it's a tough time. We've got that to count. It's terrible for me, and I hope it's not gonna be terrible. But I think
for that's what awareness does, isn't it? Is that hopefully now, with our children kind of growing up, we have the awareness that perhaps our parents didn't have, because we didn't have the words, but we've actually been able, thankfully, to give our children those words, and hopefully that improves it for them.
I love so much when like he's able to be like, I need chill time, and like will take himself off and just not talk to anyone, might just like look at a wall and spin a fidget or something for like an hour. And it's like, just even knowing like, oh, I feel like this because I'm like dysregulated and autistic, and I need to take this time, and that's perfectly okay. That's not lazy, that's not wrong or anything, that's just what I need to do. That is so nice that like all of our kids will grow up and know like, oh yeah, this is just how I like care for myself, and that's like totally normal for me. And not have to like unlearn you suck.
Exactly. Hopefully they grow up with a bit more self-esteem than we did.
Definitely,
absolutely. And then I guess, so one of the things that I'm going to ask every guest at the end, I actually wonder whether or not that's kind of almost fed into it maybe, but maybe you might have something else, is what do you wish that you knew about yourself or your child that perhaps you've had to learn out like the hard way?
Or definitely just that the kind of like things that I've always felt like I should be able to do that and I can't, and I've felt like, oh, that's such a flaw, like I should be able to, why can't I? Now I don't, like, since being diagnosed, I don't feel like that, or I'm just like, like some things
you've removed the should.
That's it. It's just like, no, I know I either, like, sometimes it is just downright can't, or sometimes it is like I just need some support to do that, and like, so I can't do it like independently or alone. Like, that's something I might have put in my book or my Instagram or something, that I'm just not an independent adult at all. I'm so not at all, and like that's also fine. Like, I think it's so much like, oh no, I'm a grown-up now, and like I still can't do these grown-up things, and then it's just like, that's fine. It doesn't matter at all, actually. Like, as long as, you know, I'm happy and healthy and getting on all right with the things that I care about. Yeah, absolutely. So it's just like, don't put so much pressure on yourself to try so hard to appear neurotypical, basically, is like the biggest thing. That if I had heard that, I mean, obviously in language I would have understood when I was young, then it would have been very different growing up. Very different, because in every situation then I've always been like, I have to pretend like I can also do all these things and be just like these people. Like, and it's so exhausting.
The unspoken pressure of it all.
So exhausting to just be like in a constant state of masking and pretending. So yeah, that's
No, that's brilliant, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
And where can people find you?
So I've got well, I do actually have a website, which is the Potters. What is it? thepotterspalette.co.uk. I'm sure.
We'll put it in the show notes as well, so it's different.
Yeah, because I'll try not to waffle too much, but obviously all of the demands that come with working in childhood and child care and education, which I still am. I can't get glutton for punishment. I keep going back to it. I love those kids too much, but it's also slowly killing me. So I am also a freelance artist, and I set up a subscription box. So each month then I write a very cosy little story, all set in the same sort of old English village, very like cobbled streets and stone-walled cottages, and it's very cute. So I write a little story each month, printed onto sort of aged recycled paper, and I paint 2 illustrations to illustrate the story. So I have a Patreon where you can subscribe, and prices start at just £3 a month, and yeah, you can get so it depends on what tier you're on, then you can get like both of the illustrations, or just one, or just digital, but yeah, it comes with like a little plastic free tea bag and everything. It's very cute, and the characters are very, very neurodivergent. So which is so lovely, because I've had people be like, oh, I've shared this month's story with my mum, and she's on her like autistic diagnosis journey, and she really relates to the character and stuff, which is so sweet, and I love messages like that. So yeah, if anybody wants to check that out, then you can find it on Patreon/The Potters Post Club, I believe. I think that's right.
Lovely, and we will put it all in the show notes as well, so people can find you just with a click of a button.
Oh, perfect.
But thank you so much.
Yay, thank you.